Let's get straight over to Tyler right now. Tyler, what's the latest?
Well, Brian and Alice, we have a tornado warning that was just issued for our region. We've been watching for this potential for quite a while now. So this warning includes northern Rutland County and also southern Addison County until 6:45. This issued by the National Weather Service in Burlington. So we're going to follow this and let you know where the danger area is headed. Well, meteorologist Andrew Grotsky has been up in this area, the Virgins area, all day, but he's going to head south now in the weather lab down in this direction and show you what's going on. And we will also talk with him as his photographer Jake brings him down in that direction. But let's zoom in and show you what's going on here. This is a very, very strong thunderstorm. The National Weather Service added the considerable damage tag to this. In other words, there could be hail to 2 inches right over Orwell and over towards Benson. And then you see Putnam there. The line right there is the border of Lake George. So this tornado warning includes the 22A area, and you can really see a little bit of a hook echo as this thing continues to push off to the east. So Hubbardton is in this. Brandon, Salisbury is included in the tornado warning. We also see Pittsford there, West Haven. If you're watching from Castleton, Castleton is on the very far southern edge of this. And we'll switch on the other view here, which is the radar detecting the wind motion here. And sometimes we're able to detect the specific area that is of concern. Right now, there doesn't seem to be anything that is super strong or super standing out, but the 2 spots here would be just east of Benson, east of 22A, and then over to the west of Benson as well. So this is lifting off to the north and east at about 30 or 35 miles per hour, and meteorologist Andrew Grotsky heading in that direction. The Weather Service issuing this at 6:10 p.m. For the movement at 30 miles per hour off to the north and east. So as we continue to track this, we'll put the loop of the radar on and zoom out a little more, because we also have a severe thunderstorm warning for the Burlington area. This is just east of Williston, over in east of Williston, Jericho included. So we don't want to forget about the strong wind up in this area, but it is just a little bit to the south where the red area, the red color, if we take out the radar, you can actually see that we've got Ticonderoga, which is southeastern Essex County. If you're in Middlebury, you're sort of on the northwestern edge of the warning box right now. Brandon is included. And outside of that, if you're in central Vermont, the severe thunderstorm warning gets to about Randolph. Barnard is on the southern end, and then the northern parts of Rutland also in that severe thunderstorm warning. But the tornado warning is the most pressing concern right now, because not only is 60-mile-per-hour wind possible, but we're talking about the potential for a funnel cloud to come down. We had a report of a funnel cloud a couple of hours ago in Potsdam, New York. That's St. Lawrence County. We had a few areas of spin in Essex County earlier, but this one here, enough in the eyes of the National Weather Service in Burlington to put out this warning. And we've been covering these for years, and it is important to know that the National Weather Service office here locally is very conservative in issuing these. So just the simple fact that they put it out means that we've got a problem that we're watching out for. And that's why we're on TV here giving you this information. The warning goes again till 6:45. So we've got at least 30 more minutes to go. Sometimes they cancel it early, but the core of the storm here has a lot of hail as well. We can show you where that is. I mean, this could be the size of golf ball hail in this green area here. That's near Benson, in northern portions of Rutland County, and then the southwestern portion of Addison County in Vermont. So it's bordering the county line there. It's on both parts. And the hail is moving off to the north and east as well. So we'll put a track here off at about 30 miles per hour. So this size hail would certainly be something that you want to put cars inside for, because it could smash windshields. And if you know anyone that's driving in this area, they really should not be going along Route 7, because the yellow line that you see right there, the north-south line, that is the tornado warning encompassing the Route 7 corridor. So if we just track the hail component on this, Stacy Crossroads, Whitting, and then Bread Loaf. Bread Loaf is outside the extent of the tornado warning box, but certainly the hail potential may maintain itself as it gets into central Vermont. So Sudbury at 626, Goshen at 644 as well, for the potential for 2-inch size hail. So that's one aspect to the storm. And when there's a tornado warning, a lot of times it can be very concerning, and you got to remember that it's not just that. And even if there isn't one tornado that actually comes down to the ground, there's the hail aspect, there's the more widespread wind aspect to it as well. So if we check out the location of the lab here in relation to the warning, you can see the NBC 5 weather lab there has already been deployed today. It's been in the Vergennes area, not far from Basin Harbor and Button Bay State Park, but they are being diverted in the direction of the south just to get a view as they move of this thunderstorm. Hopefully that would help us and also help the National Weather Service get a feel for how this storm is behaving. But it has a real nasty look right now, even a little bit of a hook echo there in the Orwell area. That's Sudbury. We've got Shoreham there, right up under the timestamp. Hubbardton, the threat area appears to be just north of Hubbardton, just north of Benson, and our control room can feel free to talk to me in my ear and let me know what we're hearing from Andrew, because if we have his shot up sort of out the front, we can take a look at it. I'm hearing that we do have Andrew's shot, so can we take a look at that and see what you're seeing? Meteorologist Andrew Gorodsky there is in the weather lab, and he is traveling to the south. You can hear a little bit of a conversation going on there. Can they hear us in there? Do you know or not? But we're certainly seeing the gray, dark clouds to the south. This is the
Tyler, yes,
radar.
I can hear
Okay,
you.
Andrew, yeah, take it away.
All right, yeah, so we were kind of in the Button Bay State Park area near Ferrisburg. Of course, this tornado warning just popping up in the last few minutes. So we are getting rerouted. We're gonna hop on Route 22A to the south. We're gonna hope to get more towards southern Addison County and into the Rutland, northern Rutland County, that kind of area, in hopes of getting a better view of this storm, kind of intercepting it, see any damage that is ongoing. So we are still seeing some dark clouds from the storms that have moved through off to the north and east, like towards Chittenden County. We had that severe storm go up. Now we're just starting to point to the south, so I want to show you our dash cam here, and you can definitely see the dark clouds off to the south with that big cluster of storms. Again, it's just starting to nudge into southern Rutland County and northern Addison County. Taking a look at my radar app here, I do see a bit of a hook signature on the radar with some of these deep red and purple colors. So certainly some heavy rain, some hail, as you mentioned, with this particular storm, but there also is that rotation aspect with it. So as we kind of look at some of our radar products, green being towards radar and red being away, and there does seem to be that kind of a couplet there, as Tyler's talking about. I'm sure he'll go into more detail and continue to track that. So there is some broad rotation, at least, with this storm. So now we're heading south on 22A. The rain is picking back up. This isn't exactly the cluster of storms associated with that tornado warning. However, we are noticing that uptick in the rainfall, just hitting another downpour at this point. We have a nice view of the clouds off to the south. So now we're pointing towards southern Addison County, kind of in the direction of that tornado warning, and it looks like a wall of dark clouds. So we're continuing to track this as it moves in. We're going to continue to head into the direction of southern Addison County and kind of get a better view of this storm. We're going to be en route for a little bit, but I'll send it back to you, Tyler. What are you seeing with the storm right now?
All right, Andrew, appreciate that reporting as you head to the south. Of course, you're in a safer location not near the core of where this tornado may be forming. We do have the advanced mode of the radar pulled up. So if you're just joining us, 6:20 now, as we have our very long week of flood coverage continuing. We've got a flood watch up for tonight, but also a severe thunderstorm watch. So we're watching the video from the Weather Lab on the right side of the screen. On the left side of the screen here, this is what we call velocity mode. In other words, it allows the Weather Service to see which way the wind is going. I gotta say, this doesn't appear to be a super tight couplet, but along Sunset Lake Road, just near Vermont 73 and south of there, and then we're talking about Hyde Manor and then the Sudbury area, that is where this spin is. So the radar site is in the Burlington area. Green would be wind blowing to the north. Red would be wind blowing to the south. So it's in this area where the Weather Service thought there was enough spin to issue the tornado warning. There actually has been a little bit of a hook echo showing up here. So we'll take the radar map and me full, and we'll show you what's going on. The latest scan here at 6:21. The red color, which includes Brandon, Sudbury, up towards Goshen, over towards Orwell and Ticonderoga is the actual tornado warning. But the key area for concern is between Orwell and Hubbardton, and between Sudbury and Hubbardton, and then a little bit up to the north as we direct things towards the Addison County area. But we can back this radar up a little and show you the super concerning area about when the warning came out. So if we zoom in here and put the radar timestamp at about 6:10, that is when the warning came out, you can really see the appendage there that is showing up on radar. This is the typical view that we look at. So in the purple area is where the golf ball size hail, potentially 2-inch size hail, has been possible. This scan a little bit old, but we're backing you up to show you when the warning was issued. And you could see the hook echo aspect to this as we get down towards Benson, Stacy Crossroads, over 22A. So if there has been a tornado, we don't have confirmation of that, but if there has been one, it would have been in that area as it lifts off to the north and east. And the tornado warning goes until 6:45. It is possible that it gets canceled early. Let's move this scan along here to the most recent frame and show you that it's not as pronounced. It seems like that real sharp appendage that was pointed to the south has sort of withdrawn itself a little bit, but we're still seeing the potential for 1 to 2-inch size hail here. This is on the Addison County, Rutland County line, and it's moving off to the north and east at about 30 or 35 miles per hour. Everything also converging on itself. So a lot of times as we move along here, it's less of a discrete thunderstorm, in other words, a cell on its own, and more so a combined line. And as that happens, this threat area should diminish, but it is certainly still there for some 60-mile-per-hour winds, some golf ball size hail, and in the middle of all of that, potentially a twister. You can see Salisbury there. Middlebury is on the top edge of this. We'll just pull out here quickly and reset the stage if you're joining us at 6:24. This is the broad view of the area. New York, all of northern New York is in the clear. We had a couple of wind damage reports from northern Clinton County, also a thunderstorm in the Scroon Lake area. But this line has been strengthening as it works to the east. And if you're just joining us from Burlington in particular, there has been a severe thunderstorm warning there for quite some time. That warning continues as well as we go through the next 20 to 30 minutes. This cell is now over Mount Mansfield, just a prolific amount of lightning here. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see some damage from a strike somewhere, a strike that either hits a house or a barn, but there's a lot of strikes there. And if we pause the clock here on the radar and do a little search tool for you, you can see how many lightning strikes just in the Burlington and Richmond and Williston area in the last 30 minutes, 83 strikes. That's a lot of lightning in a very short amount of time, especially for our area. A lot of times we don't get lightning like that, but we certainly are right now. And the tornado warning is a little bit south of there, so it is embedded within this line of thunderstorms that is headed for southern Vermont. If you're in Bennington County or in Windham County, the sun is out. It's a beautiful afternoon here at 6:25. Might even be grilling along the Connecticut River or in the Upper Valley. But just know you're on deck. This line is moving off to the east between 30 and 40 miles per hour, strong enough in the middle, sort of at the core. And if you were watching us earlier during our updates throughout the afternoon, we were highlighting particularly Rutland and Addison counties for the strongest part of the line to come in. We've also got Alice Kang and Brian Colleran here working at the anchor desk and looking for power outages and things of that nature as well. So as soon as they have something to report, we may be able to add that. And the Weather Lab is also headed south towards this. It definitely appears that in the time we've been talking about this, it has become more of a line of storms as opposed to what we call discrete cells. So sometimes when the thunderstorms form out ahead of the line, they are more likely to produce spin and then a funnel cloud and then a tornado. But now it's all coming together. So perhaps that risk for a tornado is diminishing. Don't get me wrong, though. We're still talking about 60-mile-per-hour straight-line wind, pretty much for all of us here. This is the warning area. Let's just take off the radar for a second, because I think it's hard to see exactly some of the towns that are in this at different moments. So the Weather Lab is on the right side of the screen, heading to the south there. And that's because this tornado warning encompasses actually both states of our area. A small sliver of Essex County in New York, Ticonderoga, a lot of Addison County, and then it goes down towards Benson and West Haven and Hubbardton and Brandon and Pittsford. So the northern edge of this tornado warning is basically along and south of Middlebury, Salisbury, Brandon, Pittsford, Hubbardton, and you could see where meteorologist Andrew Grodzki is. He's not quite in a heavy-duty thunderstorm right now. We wouldn't do that, but we're hopeful to have a view here soon. This is the location of the lab, just on the northern side of the tornado warning. So they are headed south. We've got our photographer, Jake, piloting the Weather Lab as this thunderstorm lifts into Addison County. So I can hear Brian and Alice as well. Are you seeing anything in the inbox as far as maybe outages or things of that sort, guys?
Yeah, we want to start with the outages. We're seeing a spike in outages in the last 15 minutes. The number was close to 1,200, over 1,200 at the top of the hour. It went down a bit and then it's back up. And you mentioned Addison County. That's where the most outages are, almost 450 outages right now. I think an important piece of information to pass along to our viewers right now, Tyler, is that, we don't see tornadoes very often in this area. So sometimes people are not prepared for what should I do now that we've had this warning in our area. So there are a couple of things that you can do when it comes to a tornado warning.
Yeah, so the National Weather Service put out that warning, and they also sent this out. So if you're in Addison County to Rutland County, and it's also moving east, like Tyler has been mentioning, you want to take cover now. So you want to move to the basement or an interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. So that's maybe like a basement in your home. Avoid windows, and if you're outside in a mobile home or a vehicle, move to the closest shelter near you, and make sure to protect yourself from flying debris. They said the winds are going to pick up, so you really want to keep an eye out for that. And of course, with everything that people have been dealing with, you just want to be weather aware. Make sure that you're checking on your neighbors. If it's safe, get to the lowest part of your home right now.
Yeah, anything away from the windows right now, and to protect your head. Tyler, we're going to keep an eye on the outages. Let's send it back over to you.
Appreciate that, guys. Yeah, you're talking about the safe room. This is what that looks like. If you have a basement, of course, that is the preferred place to go for northern Rutland County and southern Addison County. Basement down low because it's surrounded by the earth. But then if you don't have that, somewhere in the middle of the house there with a bathroom, because that would be farther from the windows. The windows can get blown out in a severe thunderstorm with a tornado in it. The radar imagery looks like this here as we come up on 6:30, and if you're just joining us looking for nightly news perhaps, we are in continuous coverage mode because of a tornado warning that goes for another 15 minutes here. The main threat area has been over Benson, and it's headed towards Brandon and Salisbury here at about 30 or 35 miles per hour. So let's put a track on this and show you where it's going. We're only going to track the part that is most concerning and most capable of producing a tornado. We're only going to do roughly a 20 to 30 minute track here because it's quite possible that this weakens here as we go beyond the warning expiration time, which is 6:45 this evening. So this is the core of that thunderstorm with the tornado potential in Salisbury at 6:43, Brandon at 6:45, Forestdale at 6:49, and then Ripton at 6:51 as this all lifts off to the north and east and comes together as one line of thunderstorms. So the tornado warning up until 6:45 for northern Rutland County as well as southern portions of Addison County there. This all part of a line of thunderstorms that has been strong for some time into the Albany area. This is going to be into the central Vermont and southern Vermont mountains over the next couple of hours. If you're concerned about flooding, we do have a flood watch up because of how saturated the ground is. But the good thing about this is there's movement. It's moving at a speed of about 30 or 40 miles per hour. I mean, this is just a 1 hour loop. So if you eyeball it and see how the back edge actually progresses along, that is what we want to see here, especially for the hardest hit areas of the Green Mountain spine, Ludlow included, and the Barre and Montpelier area included as well. So let's zoom back into this tornado warning that goes till 6:45. The main concern area right now is literally on the county border, somewhere between Brandon and Benson. So if you know friends or family in that area, make sure they're aware that there is a tornado warning in effect for the next 15 minutes or so. This is all moving off to the north and east at about 30 or 35 miles per hour. It wouldn't surprise me if there's been some wind damage as well from a thunderstorm in the Burlington area working out towards Richmond and Bolton and soon to be in Montpelier as well. So central Vermont and very hard hit Washington County. Liz's story from that summer camp on Sabin Pond in Woodbury was in this area. So if you're in central Vermont, the northern part of the line of thunderstorms is moving in now. It is strong. It's not quite at the level of the thunderstorm that has the tornado warning to the south, but certainly damaging wind of 60 miles per hour possible here as we push into central Vermont, up towards the Stowe area. Morrisville is on the northern boundary of this warning, and this warning goes for a little while longer as this progresses out into central Vermont. We'll put a track on it because this is moving as well at about 30 or 35 miles per hour. So this is the part of the line that is not immediately capable of a tornado, even though the overall risk is there. So this would be for damaging wind as we move along. You see a new warning just popped up there towards the top of the screen. That includes Eden and up towards the Newport area. But the track that we just drew here includes the whole line. So Lake Elmore and the fire tower there on top of the mountain at 6:49. Barre, which of course is very hard hit, 7:01 for this line of thunderstorms. Woodbury at 7:03. Hardwick at 7:06. So that is the severe thunderstorm warning. But the reason that we're in continuous mode here is because of the tornado warning that was issued a little while ago. It's still there in the red color. Let's just get a check at the hail potential here. Because when they issued this warning, they were mentioning the considerable potential for 2-inch hail, possibly, which is a big deal. 2 inches is usually about twice the size of what we usually see. Usually about 1 inch is when these severe thunderstorms warnings come out. So Benson here, that was the core of the hail, north and west of Benson. But now it appears the hail size is a little bit smaller as we get up into the northern part of this tornado warning. So just to get your bearings here, we've got Pittsford right there, Brandon, Salisbury, Ticonderoga in my estimation, is in the clear for the tornado potential. But we'll put the radar back on and show you that all of this has merged together into a line. So it appears that the threat that was there with the spin is diminished from what it was before. So at 6:35, this warning for the tornado potential goes another 10 minutes, but it seems like it's not as much of a risk as it was before as this continues to work off to the north. If we have meteorologist Andrew Gorotsky, we can check in with him. He is in the first warning weather lab moving to the south here. So he's on the northern fringe of the tornado warning, as you see it right there. We've got the radar layer turned on here, and you can see the lab position on the northern part of the warning. So this is a serious situation. We don't usually have too many tornado warnings, but that is Shoreham right there, Orwell to the south, and the position of the weather lab is updating in real time. So you can see he's on the northern side of this cell. Andrew, we have you on TV. If you move that roof camera sort of to the south or to the south and east, I think you'll be looking at the core of this thunderstorm. What are you seeing?
Hi, Tyler. Yeah, so we're on 22A. We just went to Bridgeport about maybe 5-10 minutes ago. So we are continuing to venture into southern Addison County. I want to show you our dash cam footage right now. Of course, seeing those dark clouds and this cloud to ground lightning strikes, not only from the tornado warned area, but also off to our east. So it's certainly something we're tracking along with cam. You can see certainly a wall of some dark clouds. We're seeing occasional cloud to ground strikes as well. And right now this is looking off to our south as we kind of position things to the southeast, again, where that rotation is with that tornado warned cell. Not seeing anything that jumps out. Of course, there's a lot of heavy rain with this.
All right, well, we are, of course, battling some signal issues there, a lot of weather in the area as well. But to me, this seems less of a tornado concern as we go forward and more of a straight line wind potential. So it's 6:37. The National Weather Service office in Burlington has this tornado warning up until 6:45. So it goes for a little while longer. That tornado warning for northern portions of Rutland County, southern portions of Addison County. But let me just show you the velocity scan here, because the velocity scan is what we use to gauge these storms and to issue these warnings. And the green and the red are two different wind directions. In this case, essentially north and south. So if we draw one arrow there and one arrow there, you can see the detection that the radar in Burlington is seeing. To me, this is not really much of a concern in the Sudbury anymore. It seems that the risk area has pushed off to the east, but it is a very, very strong wind signature there on radar. You can see that green area right over Brandon. This is Route 7. Goshen and Vermont Route 73 would be on the right side of the screen, and this is pushing off to the north and east. Just so you can see here how strong that is. We have the radar beam tilted up a little bit, so all of this wind is likely not at the ground. But near Brandon, the radar is detecting wind of 57 miles per hour. The minus sign just means it's blowing towards the radar. I wouldn't worry about that minus sign, but it's certainly strong. It's near 60 miles per hour. And so this warning is up until 6:45. It hasn't been trimmed. So if you're joining us from the Benson area or from Ticonderoga, I don't think there's much of a threat left over. Actually, I do see the trimming of it there. As the storm moves out to the north and east, you can see the back edge is trimmed. So it's really the eastern part that has the risk area. But again, it doesn't appear to be the tighter couplet that we had 20 minutes ago. So there's still a very strong risk and likelihood for 60 mile per hour wind, but the actual tornado component seems to be less than it was 20 minutes ago. Meteorologist Andrew Gorotsky is on the road very close to the cell, but he's on the northern end. Andrew, what are things looking like, and what road are you traveling on at this minute?
Hi, Tyler. Yeah, so we are on 22A South still, and we were in Bridport maybe about 10, 15 minutes ago. So we are starting to get closer to that impacted area where that rotation moved through. We're still a little ways out. Looks like we're probably about 10, 15 minutes or so from the Addison and Rutland County line. So I do want to say that just in the last 5 minutes, I did get the tornado warning alert on my phone. So we are kind of entering that tornado warned polygon. It does look like the core of the rotation, or what's left of it, has shifted to our east. So not an immediate threat to where we are. It is progression east. But we are seeing some heavy rain really picking up just in the last few minutes, and some pretty strong gusts right now hitting the weather lab. So we're seeing those gusty conditions, the heavy rain. We've been noticing several cloud to ground lightning strikes as well. The good news is that that core of rotation has shifted east of where we're heading, so we're not in any immediate threat with that. And as you said, it is starting to become more broad in nature and perhaps more of a straight line wind threat. So I guess that's some good news on the tornado side of things, but we are working our way closer to the area that core of rotation shifted over. Probably we'll get there in the next 20, 30 minutes or so. We're going to continue to monitor the situation, look out for any damage, but for now, definitely seeing the heavy rain, lightning, and some gusty winds. So that's the latest from where I am. Tyler, back to you.
All right, 6:41 now. We will take this through at least 7 p.m. tonight because we have some other reporting that we'd like to bring you. This is the latest radar scan. The line is now pretty much into Vermont. It doesn't matter if you're in the northern part of the state or the southern part of the state, Rutland County in particular. The tornado warning is up for exactly 3 more minutes, and based on our radar analysis, it is likely that the warning is going to be allowed to expire at 6:45. That is what we are thinking here. We also have a chat with the National Weather Service, so we're in back and forth with them. We haven't seen any confirmation of a tornado at all, or even a funnel cloud. And actually, we just got an updated severe thunderstorm warning, and it encompasses the area that had the tornado warning. So to us, that means right in this area, as we come up on 6:45, the red box is going to go away, and it has been replaced by a severe thunderstorm warning, which goes out this way towards Williamstown and Randolph and Royalton. That warning that takes us into central Vermont does have a tornado possible tag, but they're not going to keep the tornado warning going at 6:45. So we've got 2 more minutes of this warning, and then we will move on to our next thing. But you can see here that warning was issued in the Benson area in particular. There's also a flash flood warning that has been issued for this area. We've been talking about that flood watch the whole time because of the saturated ground. So when you look at this, I mean, there is a whole mess of stuff going on here in the Champlain Valley in the northern Vermont. The legend is at the top of the screen. So we've got a thunderstorm warning in all of these yellow areas. The tornado warning is going to expire here in less than 2 minutes. And I do believe, based on our analysis here at NBC5, that the tornado warning will not be reissued. So it appears that that funnel cloud and tornado risk has diminished. But we do have a flash flood warning that has developed. So our next stop here in our team coverage of this severe weather situation is Brian Colleran. We will send it over to him.
All right, Tyler, you mentioned if we heard anything, we'd pass it along to you. We did get one email from a viewer in Bridport, which is in that area. He says he's got 4 trees down and a path of flattened grass and shrubs just off of Route 125 on Market Road West. The other thing is the outage numbers have skyrocketed in Chittenden County.
Yeah, right now at 6:44, more than 2,000 customers are without power, and I'm looking at the map right now. It looks like Richmond, 415 customers without power, Huntington, with just over 400 as well. A little bit south of Middlebury, 300 customers are without power. Now, Green Mountain Power let us know earlier this morning that they have people on standby. You know, they're probably out and about right now, but of course they're also battling conditions out there as well. So make sure to be patient if you are waiting for the power to come back on.
Yeah, that number like tripled in the last couple of minutes. Addison County's got nearly 1,000. As you mentioned, Chittenden County's got 2,500. So we're starting to see the power outages from this storm system. Got to believe it's related to the wind that Tyler's been talking about, and not, you know, the flooding situation that we've been dealing with over the last couple of days. But at least one viewer is telling us that he's seeing damage that is unusual, Tyler, at this point. Let's circle back with, do we have any of our reporters available now?
Yeah, I think Sid is available, so we'll check in with her in a little bit. But of course, the good news that we told you a couple of minutes early is that the tornado warning was allowed to expire. Now, we're not out of the woods overall. We've got a whole bunch of warnings that are in effect. We will reset here and show you that this thunderstorm line pretty much at this point has a warning everywhere along it. In other words, from the Newport area down through central Vermont, into the Rutland County area, and then down towards the Albany area. So if you've got sunshine right now, just know in Vermont and New Hampshire in particular that the storms are coming. You are in the clear if you're in northern New York. So Plattsburgh, Malone, Messina, Saranac Lake, Long Lake, and Newcomb, which was hard hit, all of those spots are in the clear. If you're looking for nightly news, we are on TV because of a tornado warning that was issued for about the last 45 minutes. It went from 6:10 to 6:45 this evening, allowed to expire. But as we zoom in here, you'll see that the warnings, the thunderstorm warnings, in some cases have enhanced language to say that even though the threat's not super big for a tornado, there still may be one. We don't have that wording with this one. This is a run-of-the-mill severe thunderstorm warning, if there is such a thing as run-of-the-mill at this point. Newport, Troy, Brownington, Albany, Troy, Eden, sort of into Bakersfield down to Johnson. That is a severe thunderstorm warning for wind of straight line variety that can be 60 miles per hour. But then there's a new warning here that was issued for hard-hit Washington County. This one goes until 7:30, and it does have that tornado possible tag. So if you're in Waterbury, that is the core of the thunderstorm right now. It's going down 89 towards Montpelier, Worcester, and Woodbury, and Marshfield. We're going to check in a second with our reporter, Stephen Biddix, but I want to show you this extra warning that came out as well. This one also has that enhanced language of tornado possible. Basically, that means we're mostly thinking straight line wind, but there could be a little spin up at some point. But it goes for eastern areas of Addison County into central Vermont, a lot of counties partially included here. But 89 is definitely in this warning, so it's headed for that area. A bunch of lightning between Middlebury and Brandon and Pittsford, and that warning has a tornado possible. There's a flash flood warning as well for that area. Now Rutland, if you're watching from Rutland, you've got a severe thunderstorm warning. This goes over to Castleton and down to Clarendon, Mount Holly, Danby. All of this area is next up as well for this line of thunderstorms. So it definitely means business. That is the location of the first warning weather lab, and we got that reporting in of the damage in this area. So our newsroom will relay that to the weather lab and to our crews on the field, because it appears that something has happened here where the tornado warning was issued. We don't have that confirmation from the radar. Sometimes we can, we don't in this situation. But that reporting that came in from email, we definitely need to check that out. Stephen Biddix is our reporter who's live in Montpelier right now. Stephen, we're going to check in with you, but I do want you to know this is headed your way very shortly.
Yes, Tyler, we've kind of been able to tell that. So just about 15, 20 minutes ago, we were down the road in Berlin before we started making our way now where we are at now, which is State Street in Montpelier. And just within the last couple minutes, you've been able to see this massive dark cloud really start rolling in our direction. And so we don't have any raindrops yet, but we have been able to see some lightning in the background, and it's definitely coming this way. weather's definitely quite a few degrees cooler than it was just 5-10 minutes ago. Once again, if you just saw plenty of more lightning in the background. So while at the moment it may not be here, it is definitely on its way and will be here very soon. It seems like we still have some people walking up and down State Street, which hopefully they will adhere to safety precautions and maybe head inside sometime soon. But like you said, it's definitely heading this way, and we're going to be sticking around here in Montpelier, but that's what we have for now. And back to you.
All right, Stephen, thank you for that report. Please take cover when it comes in. I'm being told from the newsroom that we have video of damage of some kind. It's not confirmed to be of any type, but they are working on that very hard. It's an upload process, that kind of thing. And we've also got Sid Bewley, who's standing by. We'll zoom in on the radar and just show you central Vermont, because I know everyone is worried about what's going on here tonight. And the movement here is still encouraging, but it is... it's still scary when you have the thunderstorms coming in with the wind. Actually, we just got a report a couple of minutes ago as well of a funnel cloud in Waitsfield. So that is the Mad River Valley. That came in a couple of minutes ago. The Weather Service forwarding that report 4 minutes ago. It's a delayed report from the public of a funnel cloud with rotation in Waitsfield. So we take that with a grain of salt. But we do have some video here. I have not seen it yet, but we can pull it up and see what this looks like as these storms continue to cross over very hard-hit portions of Vermont. Central Vermont, it's only going to be 10 or 20 minutes before this line of thunderstorms comes in. So this is video just in to the NBC5 newsroom. Got a couple of trees down there. This is in Bridport, Route 125. Lots of damage there. Trees in pieces and strewn about. So usually in a situation like this, we would look for the angle that the trees and the debris is thrown around. Wow, look at that SUV there, some damage on that as the trees were thrown about. So based on my first impression here, there's definitely some heavy damage there. It wouldn't surprise me if there is other damage, tree damage to be sure, in the area that we're not seeing in this video. It's hard to tell exactly what happened there in this, but the car there does have damage, and that's why the severe thunderstorm warnings are issued, 60-mile-per-hour winds. So even if you don't have spin, you can still have damage that is like a weak tornado. And so that is why we're on TV. We've got our reporters staying late tonight. Everyone here at NBC5 has had a long week, like pretty much everyone in the region, but we're working late to assess this situation and figure out where there is some thunderstorm damage, which areas are in the clear. We could all use a little bit of good news, and that good news right now is that northern New York doesn't have flood problems as we go into this night, because the Altona and Ellenburg area hard hit over the last couple of weeks. This is the bigger picture. If you're just joining us, we're on TV extra time here because of a tornado warning that was out earlier. So this line is entering southern Vermont and central Vermont and northern Vermont now, but Lake Champlain west is clear now. So we will zoom in and show you where this funnel report came in, because the Weather Service forwarding this along. We've got our high-res mapping here, and you can see a couple of towns popping up. So Warren there, we've got Lincoln Peak at Sugarbush, the Slidebrook Express up to Mount Ellen, and then that would be the road through the mountains there by Mad River Glen. So the public reporting the funnel cloud, this is separate from the tornado warning, but it's all part of the same line. Public report of a funnel cloud in Waitsfield just after 6:30 this evening. So it's possible that there's a quick spin-up tornado in this line. It's starting to enter a portion of Vermont that is tougher to see on the radar because the 3,000 and 4,000 foot mountains in some cases obstruct the low-level view of the radar, but we can tilt it up a little bit and get a view. Let me just give you a quick update on the spin potential here, because a lot of these warnings for Montpelier and Barrie do say to still watch out for that. So I don't really see anything that's super pressing there between Granville and Rochester and Stockbridge. That's Route 100 through the spine of the Green Mountains. But as we analyze this on TV to the north, This is central Vermont. I mean, I can certainly see how that funnel cloud was possible. If we back up here a little bit on the velocity scan, yeah, I mean, that totally makes sense. See the colors here together? So the green would be in, the red would be out, and this is 6:30. I mean, it's literally the same time that the National Weather Service in Burlington received this report. So if you're in Moortown or Middlesex, 100B, 100, and near the Sugarbush area, the Mad River Valley, that is where this went through. If we bring it to the current time, I mean, it still had some pretty good rotation there through the Moortown area. Middlesex, we're hearing that it's very dark over our reporters in central Vermont. And we'll just bring this to the current time. It seems like that rotation has diminished a little bit as it moves up towards Worcester and northern Washington counties. So again, the severe thunderstorm warnings are lit up across the state. We will do a wide shot here of the overall state of Vermont, and then we're going to take a look at another picture that just came in. So setting the stage here, 6:55, the whole state, Newport to Bennington has a severe thunderstorm warning. It's pretty rare that the warning goes the whole state. There's also a flash flood warning for Addison County in the Middlebury area. That is the area that had the tornado warning a little bit earlier. So we're going to zoom in here and just show you the flash flood warning and then put on our 3-hour rainfall estimate. Maybe we can try the 1-hour version. Yeah. Okay, so this is precisely why we've got the flash flood warning in this area. You can see the hard-hit areas, basically northern Lake George over towards southern Addison County. This could be an area that's experiencing some flash flooding right now. I know the Otter Creek runs through here and has been in flood stage for a while before dropping, so there's not much room for more water, but this is indicative of 1 to 3 inches of rainfall in just the last hour. So that's in the Benson area. I'm being told that we do have some new pictures coming in of damage, so we will try to show you those here and take you through it. We're trying to diagnose exactly what happened here because we had a tornado warning up. Wow. Deborah Plouffe sent in this picture of barn damage. It is somewhere in the area where that tornado warning was. We're trying to get a specific location on it. She says Bridport. Okay, we're hearing that picture that you're seeing on your screen of a destroyed barn came in from Bridport. So definitely some strong wind to make that happen. The weather lab is in between Benson and Orwell right now, which is quite a ways south of Bridport, but the line of thunderstorms continues to work off to the east. Brian and Alice, how many outages are you seeing here as we move along through the 657 portion of our coverage here? Yeah, statewide.
9,100 now, and it's skyrocketed in the last 40 minutes. It was 1,000 at 6:20. It's now 9,100, with a majority of those in Chittenden County, nearly 5,400. And there's another number there too. The Rutland County number has gone up dramatically in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah. Right now, I'm seeing the most impacted areas: Richmond, 1,500 customers out without power. In Hubbardton, over 500 customers without power. We also just got an email in from a woman named Lisa who lives in Rutland. She says that they're getting really heavy rain and high winds right now as well, Tyler.
Let's take a look at the camera in central Vermont because we're told that there's some very strong wind coming in. Wow. I mean, this was a traumatic experience earlier in the week for everyone, so it's probably a very scary time right now. I know we didn't have the wind component earlier in the week, but the rain is starting to move in, and the flood watch is up through tonight because there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. So if there is a flash flood warning issue, we would issue. It would not be the level of we had earlier in the week. That takes a lot of water, more widespread, to really send a bigger river like the Winooski up. But this is our live video in the downtown areas of Montpelier and Barrie in the central Vermont area. You could see the American flag there by the Northfield Savings Bank whipping in the wind. Look at all of the dust as well. All of that is debris from what we had in the flood earlier in the week. Now that it has dried up, it's blowing around as dust. We're going to wrap up and keep this coverage